Minnehaha Falls is a nice place to visit, especially if you're a Hollywood producer in search of interesting Twin Cities locales.
Walking back in here, you get framed by the tree branches.
Like Jim Brooks, who's one of the creators and executive producers of the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
I guess just walking across the bridge then, huh?
Yeah.
Or Dave Davis, who's one of the executive producers of the Bob Newhart Show, another series made by Miss Moore's MTM production company.
What's the maximum?
Although Dave doesn't normally work on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, he came along to direct the filming, just as a favor, he says.
Huh? Yeah.
And Lynn Ephraim is the company's associate producer, production manager, and part-time crowd control expert.
Wasn't all wet from there.
The three will spend the next couple of days scouting locations. After that comes 2 hectic days of virtually non-stop filming.
That's interesting.
What's that?
That's the new Federal Reserve bank building.
And as people make deposits, that hole fills up.
Well, the nice part, this thing here, there's no problem closing off because there's no traffic except for buses anyhow. There's light screen.
That's good. That really is.
So, we have left that we haven't talked about, all the stuff on the Crystal Court, the opera, the flower nursery. That's the glass dome thing.
Okay. The tricky stuff, too, is when you start doing things where like the train schedule, hitting it at a certain time, and the school crossing guard, that's another one I didn't mention.
That's if we get lucky. Well, we know that that's tricky.
Yeah.
I think we have too much for 2 days, so we better figure a priority list and start. Yeah.
So we've got quite a bit of work.
9 a.m. in the IDS Center's Crystal Court. By Hollywood standards, it was a modest affair. Jim Brooks, Dave Davis, and Lynn Ephraim were there, and a film crew from the Minneapolis production house of Countryman Klang. Cameraman Harry Allen, 1 assistant cameraman, 1 electrician, 3 grips, 1 production assistant, and 1 still photographer, and close to 1,000 pounds of film gear, and a hairdresser, and a makeup man from California. And so many curious bystanders, you had to wonder if there was anybody in downtown Minneapolis who'd actually reported to work this morning. And of course, Mary Tyler Moore was there too.
Keeps them in a good humor.
Get ready. Go. Use it. Go in. Good. And cut. Okay. Thank you. Okay, ready? Action. Go. Down. Easy, easy. Good. Okay. And cut. How was that? Okay, now can we just get 1 set shot here?
For 37-year-old Dave Davis, directing is just a hobby now, but it's how he got his start 12 years ago on a television show called Dobie Gillis.
You want to look in the camera, Tom?
Yeah.
So there I was at 25 directing, and they couldn't believe it. I mean, if you think I look young now, they couldn't believe it. Who is that kid?
Jesus, I can't see a thing in it.
Just walk straight on through, okay?
42-year-old Lynn Ephraim has had a lot of experience dealing with crowds on location, but this trip may prove to be his toughest test yet.
If you have a lot of people and you have to make them do things they don't want to do, move away from something they're interested in seeing, or cooperate with you by giving you movement or keeping them moving when they want to stand still, the best way is really to establish eye contact with 1 or 2 people and get them started, and others will follow.
Great. Thank you very much.
Try to space yourselves out so we aren't all moving in a solid plank. So just so that there's 2 or 3. Take your own timing. You know, like in a building, they aren't walking like an army. Okay?
If you ever noticed, a good traffic cop doesn't just wave people when things get tough. He'll blow his whistle and point at 1 particular car. The man moves because he's been singled out, and things will start to flow. If he just waves the hands, nothing happens.
Lynn, why don't you and the crew and the guys be sitting at those tables so at least we could see other people at the railing?
Okay, fine.
Scene number 4, Mary and her date having lunch in the Crystal Court's Gallery restaurant. The man posing as her date is, in reality, Grant Tinker, president of MTM Enterprises. He also happens to be Mary Tyler Moore's husband.
Okay. More animation, Mary. Zoom in.
It was Grant Tinker who, 4 years ago, hired Jim Brooks, along with Alan Burns, to produce the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
I think of myself as a writer, because a writer is made a producer because he's a writer. And if he forgets he's a writer, you really end up in trouble. I mean, you start to think that you are that person who wears suits and somebody really would give you a living wage for what you do aside from writing, and they wouldn't. I mean, I'd starve to death if I couldn't write. Well, maybe not so much anymore. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Cut.
Please, behind the cameras, if you will. It would help us a lot. Appreciate it. Just back behind the level of the lens.
You're going in, you got to make a call, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who, Val? Or me?
You.
Okay.
Scene number 11, Mary and co-star Valerie Harper, who plays Rhoda in the series, at a phone booth on the Nicollet Mall.
Okay.
Roll it.
We were here 3.5 years ago before the show started, and although a lot of people knew Mary from the Dick Van Dyke Show and saw us filming with the cameras in the middle of the downtown section at lunchtime, people just gave us a glance and kept right on going, didn't pay any attention. This particular trip, it seemed as if everybody in Minneapolis came to watch. They heard Mary was in town and they wanted to see what was going on and they wanted to see her, and it made things a little bit more difficult to shoot simply because they were there. You can't have it both ways. It's wonderful that they wanted to be there, I guess.
Go on, folks. Keep walking, please. Don't stare at the camera.
Scene 13, Dayton's department store becomes the fictional Hempel's department store, where Valerie Harper works as a window trimmer.
I just think that the officer's got to just exert his authority and say, okay, folks, come across the street, keep going, just keep going. And because that's the only way. If they're standing like that, they're in the shot.
What is your shot?
I'll show you. It says...
Rhoda inside?
Yeah, it's Rhoda inside, and Mary comes by and sees her working in the window. You know,
Will you get the reflection of all those people looking?
well, yeah, if they're standing there, yeah. And the people over there are just staring in like, you know, on television. We can't control the crowd. That's our problem. I mean, they're in all the reflection.
At times like these, you'd expect the typical Hollywood producer to have little patience with inquisitive bystanders asking for special favors, but these producers aren't typical. When a young man asks to be an extra in one of the upcoming scenes, Jim Brooks, without a moment's hesitation, says yes.
Are we on camera? We'll walk you through if we walk people through.
God, that'd be great. You know, I think that'd be so great.
Sure.
But I really love, I watch the show all the time. I like that show, and what's the other one after that?
Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart. I like him. He's good.
Once you get to the boat, once you get to the boat, cool it. You're done.
Very good. Just play.
No, just like you know, you can come back.
Okay.
Okay. Just don't talk to her or look at her.
I won't.
Okay. Okay, pull back. You got it.
Yeah, back, all the way back.
Okay. Now zoom in.
Boy, I was gonna have a hard time.
Okay.
When do you want me to bump
Cut.
into Mary?
Okay. One more back there, Mary. Back. Yeah.
Well, where is he?
And it's when the picture's in that I should start slowing down.
No, it's all the way the same pace throughout all the pictures until you're through with them.
Uh-huh.
The last one.
Yes.
Then take, like, as soon as you hit that white, start slowing down because the camera's going to go white.
Right. I think I can really handle the slowing down part.
Okay, start slowing down and go over to the city. Terrific.
What was wrong with it?
The last scene of the day, some 14 hours and 4,000 feet of film after they began this morning. Once again, husband Grant poses as Mary's anonymous boyfriend.
No. Well, I mean, it's a serious business.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Action.
Hello, young lovers.
Okay.
Look, Anyone take a picture of me walking alone?
Can I see it?
Yeah.
That's a wrap. Thanks, guys. That's all today. Well, why don't you guys plan on being at the hotel at 8:30, ready to pull out for wherever?
Okay.
All right?
Well, let me put it this way. How many shots am I in tomorrow? How hard do I have to work?
Just through.
Okay, that's it? Okay. Okay. Back in the bus.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, let's come on, guys.
Because now it's summer and guys are jogging.
Okay, so which way do we jog?
We're going to go the other way.
Which way is she going?
The second and final day of shooting for the MTM production crew. Like yesterday, the sky is overcast and rain is threatening, but at least the crowds are gone, so no one's complaining.
Look how great. That looks so terrific.
For this scene, Jim Brooks and Dave Davis will play the roles of lakeside joggers, as soon as they decide on the proper way to wear a Viking football jersey.
Well, the 49ers, being a West Coast team, have to tuck it out because they're not big guys, but Vikings are big guys, and they tuck it in.
No, not after the half.
Yeah, but don't get in line.
Welcome to Woody Halfway.
And St. Paul.
Scene 25 calls for Mary Richards, girl TV reporter, at the scene of a late-breaking news event. A Hennepin County deputy, who's been escorting the crew around town during their stay, will pretend he's being interviewed. And our own More on Sunday camera crew is commandeered to pose as a camera crew from WJM, Mary's fictional TV station.
Action. Talk time.
All right, the lake is one of the prettiest lakes we have here in the Twin Cities. It's used extensively for canoeing and for fishing, especially in the evening hours. You see quite a few people out here, especially the young kids. And usually one of the areas they canoe in is over toward the other end of the lake, toward Lake Calhoun.
Okay, Mary, go
and then right in this area here is where we do, the kids usually do most of the fishing, right over in this corner over here.
All right, now he goes.
And we, it's not used too much for swimming. It's kind of a muddy little lake, and it's not too deep. During the summer, we have the aquatennial here. Yes, and there's a bird up there in that tree. Beautiful big bird.
And now
yes.
the vulture.
Yes.
Now the camera goes back and catches Mary. She misses it. And now she reveals it. Good.
Okay, what else do we talk about here? Is that it? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Lunch, 1 hour and a half.
Following that 1 hour and a half lunch, it's time to feed the ducks in Loring Park. Scenes 26 and 27.
Oh, they don't hurt though. They don't. They just sort of close on you. You can feel your finger being sucked down into its stomach. Oh.
How many ducks do you suppose there are there? 25?
There's 3 coveys of ducks there.
How do you know that?
I know ducks.
Ducks isn't all that Jim Brooks knows. He also knows that in the uncertain world of television producing, the kind of success he's had doesn't happen every day.
It was very special. I hope in some ways I match it, but it could be that you know, that we never had this special situation again. It was, we had a star who was powerful enough so that we didn't have to make a pilot, which allowed us to take months in casting. We had somebody like Grant Tinker who gave us autonomy that no writer has ever had. It worked. Everything came together and it worked, and it really is a team sport. Boy, is it a team sport, and you need everything. And for some fortunate reason, everything came together for this show.
Huh? Those ducks are really something. They eat more than Rhoda.
Okay, Lynn, we're split.
I'm through wrangling the ducks.
Yeah, very good.
Okay,
work.
that's a wrap here. We're going to the helm, right?
That's right. Hooked it to the bus to get that book.
That's hilarious.
I do everything.
I know you do. Right? It's sort of a surprise.
Next on the schedule is Mary's TV house, the one that appeared in the program's opening for 3 years. But problems have come up. The owner complains that newspapers have printed her address, that she's been bothered by cranks, tourists, and burglars, that she didn't know what she was signing 3.5 years ago, that now she wants money if they want to film her home again. The producers say they don't normally pay anyone for pictures of a building, but in this case, they'll consider it. In fact, just a few hours ago, when they last talked with the owner and her lawyer, they felt they were getting closer to an agreement. But when they drive by the house a few minutes later, it's suddenly obvious that the owner has no intention of reaching any agreement.
I thought of the Impeach Nixon banners, which I made in about 5 minutes, as a way of making the house what would be offensive to plastic people like those who are selling stories and selling products, but on the other hand would perhaps convey a message which is of considerable significance to Americans and to people in Minnesota at this time.
Tomorrow morning, Ms. Giese, along with her house, will appear on the front page of the local newspaper, and the wire services will carry to practically every newspaper and broadcasting station in the country the story of what she did. Strange tactic, it would seem, for a lady who was complaining about all the publicity she was getting. And so the Mary Tyler Moore crew carries on. They're somewhat disappointed over what happened and still not sure what it was really all about. But their timing is almost perfect when they reach the school crossing. And later, in Dinkytown, when they film Valerie and Mary from a moving car, hardly anyone even notices they're there. It isn't long before they're back to their old spirits again.
How many more shots?
Maybe 2.
I'm going to go out and wrestle Jim to the ground, forcing him to give up the Mary standing on the corner freezing shot. Screaming and pounding on the street. Oh, there you go.
You girls are holding up very well, considering long days.
You sure I can't wear this on the plane? I don't want to.
I can't. I'm in Miranda shtick, you know.
No, I don't think you can wear that on the plane.
What if she wears a coat over it?
You know why?
Can't it be
It's
eccentric
cheap.
just once?
It's cheap and tacky.
Nothing. Yeah, people are going to look at it.
Yeah.
It's cheap and tacky. At last, Grat Tinker,
Come
you've
on.
exposed yourself
What?
for all the world to see. I mean...
The 31st and final scene, Mary washing her car, courtesy of a very nice lady who didn't seem too worried that her driveway might become famous.
Okay, we're going to do you...
How do you wash a car? I have never washed a car.
Really? No.
Right?
It's a lot of this,
Yeah.
and a lot of this, and a lot of bending.
Squirting the water on it at
And
the
yeah,
same time.
doing that at the
All
same
right.
time.
So you suds and rinse
Yeah,
simultaneously.
I think it shows the enthusiasm and the conscientiousness of the company to come in and redo a main title that is very successful. And it's expensive. This is costing anywhere around $15,000, even though we're not getting paid for it. I mean, I'm doing this as, like I said, a favor, and the actors are too. And they're doing that because they just don't want the show to be tired. They just want the audience, when they see it in the 4th year, suddenly, wow, it's a little different. They're not about to rest on their laurels. That's the way they look at their stories. That's the way they look at their casting.
Fellas, that was our wrap shot.
We got quite a bit of material in spite of the rain, in spite of the crowd problems, and we actually got an amazing amount of film, much more than I really thought we'd get under those conditions. And I think we've got some very nice things, too.
Who can turn the world on with her smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can never tell, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all. You're gonna make it after all.
Takes a lot of work and a lot of painful decisions to whittle down 6,000 feet of film into a 45-second opening title, and we think the Mary Tyler Moore people did a rather good job. But we couldn't help wondering how we might have done it if we'd had to whittle down the 9,000 feet of film that we shot into a Mary Tyler Moore show opening.
Who can turn the world on with her smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can never tell, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all. You're gonna make it after all.
Next week on More on Sunday, we'll bring you more madness from Dudley Riggs, a guest commentary, and a test of a television commercial claim. We'll bring you a story we call Karen and Cindy, Jack and Jill.
More on Sunday has been brought to you in part by the 17 Northwestern banks in the Twin Cities area.